Three, two, one. Fuck. All right, let's do it proper. Hello everybody, welcome back to your favorite session of the week. Here to unpack global politics is Sir George, the amazing, the one, the only. I'm Herr Luigi, or Luigi Sama.
Hello, Luigi.
Hi, George.
An absolute pleasure, the pleasure of a lifetime to be with you, Luigi. It shall be written on my tombstone. That's how epic this whole thing is. So,
but yeah, it's been a heavy week, George, as we can see on our screen. Unless you haven't been following the news.
It's been a very heavy week, Luigi. Many things have happened again. We had a light-hearted episode last week because we were going through the credits, having a debate, and not even the main credit, just the substandard credits. So I mean, now it's gonna be far more serious. Unfortunately, shit has happened again, and it's dire shit. To be fair, I mean, are we gonna go straight to Israel-Gaza?
Yeah, we have to. It's let's get the elephant out of the way.
Excellent. I like a heavy morning, Luigi. A morning tinged with the heavy subject of the Israel-Palestine situation. And I just gotta say that this turn of events was more than expected, to be honest. In hindsight, I mean, it was gonna boil. The tensions would have erupted eventually, and this is what has happened now. Because for the past, I don't know, 50 years or so, whatever, the past 20 years, let's say, to be realistic, because there had been some developments up to the 90s. But after that, I mean, it's been deterioration after deterioration, to the degree that in the past 5-10 years, I mean, it was obvious that the Palestinians are going to get nothing. They're not going to get a state, they're not going to get a half state, they're not going to get a state, they're going to get nothing. So it was expected that it was a dire situation. What has happened is, in short, in brief, it was that Hamas, I mean, militants, terrorists, whatever you want to call them, invaded into Israel through the border in Gaza through various clandestine ways. I'm going to add some Luigi used paragliders.
I saw that.
And they proceeded to massacre and take hostage. They massacred about 1,000 people in Israel. I think they got into what was it? Not a dance festival, but a concert of some sort. And
a music festival.
Yeah, music. They did multiple. They did many atrocities there. They found a lot of people there, and they took hostage about, I don't know, 200 people thereabouts, back into Gaza. And this, I mean, you can expect. I mean, we've spoken about Israel. Israel is basically right now, it's Bibi barely holding on together in a government with far right fascists, basically, and Jewish supremacists, basically. And you can imagine the response after this, which was shocking to the Israeli community. You can imagine what's happening, right? I mean, all the Israelis are just talking about the Holocaust right now, and that, it's the similarities with this event, massacred indiscriminately because of your race, basically.
Yeah, and we've been getting a lot of we've been seeing a lot of the response to this attack. I mean, they're calling it a war. This is how, like, even the Guardians, like the tag. I mean, it's
It's
a
not really a
war.
war because one is a country and the other is a militant organization.
Exactly, exactly. A terrorist organization,
Hmm.
you could say, but because they're also willing to, to
Their
sacrifice.
actions, yeah, have been pretty genocidal. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, pretty genocidal. But I mean, calling it a war implies a certain level of symmetry.
Yeah, but there is none. There is none.
There is zero symmetry. I mean, the one is a modern military and the other is, I don't know.
And I mean, they've killed about 3,000 people up to now in response in Gaza, somewhere around. A hospital was bombed yesterday,
Yeah.
around 500 dead. It's gone to absolute shit, right, in Gaza with the response by Israel.
So,
You know, cut off
some
food, water, medicine supplies, everything has been cut off.
something
Yeah,
something that I didn't know about Gaza until recently is that it's basically a kindergarten in the sense that 50% of the population, of the
yeah, they're very
2.3
young.
million population, 50% are below the age of 18
Mm.
and 40% are below the age of 14.
Yeah, and I mean,
Uh,
I don't wanna do this. What about? But I mean, you can go on and on. Obviously, I don't want to equate the two, but you can imagine every time Israel airstrikes Gaza, children die by definition because look at those numbers.
yeah, but because it's very densely populated and you've got this concentration of kids, honestly, it's a humanitarian fucking disaster. I don't know, doing the blame game is difficult, but like, yeah, I can see, I can sort of see the grievances of both sides. It's one of the most complex questions in the world, at least of this century.
But I mean, there's not gonna be any peace or even an attempt at peace until Palestinian people are treated more equally. And I know the arguments. The arguments are always, they want to kill us. Well, you've been oppressing them for how long now? Maybe they want to kill you at this point. Try doing something better. Try treating them with more dignity. Give them a state. Give them some dignity back, and you might be treated better by them. Is the theory we're going with?
Yeah. By the way, there were some reports. Let me find them. The Egyptian spy chief, the head of they
And,
basically said that they warned. They
mm,
tried to warn.
and
Even
interestingly, it was a Republican who came out with the information. It wasn't a Democrat.
this is from the Times of Israel, and I mean this is according to the Egyptians at least, because Netanyahu's office denied it. But the Egyptians are saying that they basically warned them something was coming, and Netanyahu almost ignored it. Later, of course, he denied that. So do with that what you will, but
Like Yahoo must be enormously high on his own supply at this point.
I mean, it's a very sort of tragic thing to say, but this politically, this suits Netanyahu perfectly because he could barely get a government together until recently, and now, yeah, I don't want to sound too,
Yeah,
too critical, but the turn of events has certainly been in BP's
it, it,
favor.
I don't know. I don't know, Luigi. I don't know because he's being blamed for this enormous security lapse. It's complicated to figure this out, but I wouldn't necessarily be inclined towards believing that. Is it,
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course. And yeah, you're probably right. I'm just saying this is something to consider. So yeah, the response has been overwhelming. The leveling of Gaza, basically, fear led by U.S. politicians, I should say, most of the Republican Party, like they're tripping over themselves. Who's going to call for more?
The
You know,
Republicans have, by the way, Pastrami got slightly elbowed about this. Pastrami has been a bit, has been a bit wobbly on the support Israel issue. Pastrami doesn't understand the actual Republican psyche, and the supporting Israel thing goes very deep in the Republican bloodline. So I mean, yeah, this happened, and the Republicans are losing their minds over who supports Israel more.
I mean, when you listen to some people like Lindsey Graham
Oh
or
yeah,
even
Lindsay is a legend.
Ron, I govern Florida with an iron fist, DeSantis. I mean, it's a dark message. It's a let's level them kind of message. And
Oh
you're like,
yeah, of course, and they're pathetic, aren't they? Suddenly, they've lost all inclination for isolationism. Isn't that weird?
yeah, yeah. And it's a very one-sided, lacking critical thought kind of approach.
By the way, yeah, do you want to go to because they have a problem, the Republicans. They can't elect a speaker of the House
Oh, yes.
because they're credits, and they can't pass any bills supporting Israel in funding and basically in funding. That's the important part because they haven't got a speaker yet, and they can't elect one because they're all credits at this point.
Who knew that McCarthy was what was holding this party together?
It's very funny because it's like the Tea Party 10 years ago. It's the same situation where you've got a hard iron contingent of fucking far-right cretins who refuse to yield, and therefore you can't elect a moderate. The moderates won't do a deal with the Democrats because fuck no, they're still Republicans, for God's sake. So you're going to have to elect the far right, but even he's going to have difficulty getting the moderate votes because even now there are Republican moderates. There's not a lot, but there's a few in swing states and swing constituencies. So yeah, it's funny because it was going to be Steve Scalise, who is a moron, but a moderate Republican moron at this point. Yeah, so we had Steve Scalise. He got shafted surprisingly, and now we've got Jim Jordan. Jimmy Boy is an old hand at being a credit. Jim Jordan. I think he was a coach. He was a coach some time ago. For what sport, you ask? Well, it wasn't basketball, I can tell you that.
What was it? Water polo. The deadlock marked only the second time in a century that the House has required more than one ballot to elect a speaker. The other recent standoff occurred in January when McCarthy needed 15 rounds of voting.
I mean, he needed 15 rounds. Fuck knows how many Jimmy's gonna need to get elected. Jimmy's gonna be substantially worse because Jimmy is a MAGA, is pure MAGA, and he's been riding on that wave ever since fucking Trump descended the golden escalator. I mean, his biggest priorities, Luigi, are stuff like nationwide abortion ban, stopping the transgenders. You know what I mean? It's the silliest of shit. So I don't know what's going to happen. They're going to give money to Israel because every Republican supports that, which was a stumble by Rama Pastrami. I don't know if you noted what I said before, Luigi, but he went on Hannity, and then Hannity smacked him about this. Because as Pastrami doesn't understand the intricacies of the Republican psyche, even as much as Trump changed it, there are still elements that have endured. One of it is worship of Israel. You don't disown Israel, Pastrami. You have to understand that.
It's true. I mean, if you're catering to that base,
we love Israel.
I mean, you have to be.
Jack, he works for hummus. He works for hummus.
For hummus.
Hummus. They're terrible. They're terrible.
When 30% of your audience is evangelicals, you have to preach to that choir. It's a necessity. Look, I don't know who they're going to elect. The only thing for certain is whoever it is, it doesn't matter because the House is not going to pass anything that Biden might want over the next year. And yeah, let's call it a year until the election. So it's a lame duck session for now, and there's gonna be probably gonna be another government shutdown next month. We'll see how it plays out, but it looks like we're headed in that direction. So that's gonna be fun. As we said last time, the stakes are not quite as high this time because it's a mere government shutdown that we're gonna pay our creditors, but
Well,
we're not
fuck
really gonna
everything
pay.
else.
Yeah,
But
we're not
fuck
gonna
you.
pay teachers and police
Fuck.
officers. Something a disturbance in the force.
Where were we? Fuck, I forgot. What were we talking about?
Um,
Shit. A lame duck session.
oh yeah.
And I was gonna say, and what if we swerve around to Biden? What do you think about Jack? What do you think about Jack? What Jack's doing? Flying into Jerusalem itself, Luigi, to bring peace to the Middle East.
Yeah, so Biden is doing this whole I'm going to be an active president. I don't know. I mean, you have to understand that there's an election coming up, and Biden really intends to run. It seems.
I
The
shall
headlines.
be, I shall be your Jesus. I will come to Golgotha myself.
I took you out of Afghanistan. Now I want my ice cream.
Bibi,
So
stop killing civilians.
Biden, in a press conference with Netanyahu, is saying that the Washington would provide Israel with everything it needs to defend itself, while appearing to accept Israel's assertion that the blast at the hospital in Gaza had been caused by a failed Palestinian rocket launch.
That's what the Israelis came out immediately with. Look, I mean, who can verify this at this point? We have to. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we'll have to be careful with this. The one argument I've heard against this is like usually the firepower that hummus rockets,
the best hummus rockets.
They are not enough to like level a hospital.
I mean, Jesus, hummus, guys, is just made with some seeds. What is it? Pea? I don't know. It's just it's not strong enough.
It's not strong enough. Exactly.
Yeah.
But Biden seems to be jumping on this bandwagon. Yeah, man, it's an extremely complicated question, but Biden is trying to do the diplomatic push.
Yeah.
They've also deployed the most modern US aircraft carrier to to Israeli waters, basically. The Americans have.
They've got two of them over there.
Just to ensure that operations go smoothly, I guess. And as we speak, George, the latest that I know is that the Israelis have amassed like a pretty, hundreds of thousands of 300,000 soldiers, I think, and they're preparing for the land excursion, the land invasion.
Shit. Yeah, this is gonna be extremely bad. Extremely bad.
So far, it was a shelling campaign.
And a minister came out a few days ago and he was like, or was it Bibi himself? He was like, get out of northern Gaza or whatever, like get out of Gaza. Where are they gonna go? You fuck, it's an open air prison. And they've been shelling southern Gaza as well. It's extremely bad, Luigi.
It's so bad that the UN has come out to condemn most of what's happening.
Of course, and Jordan and Egypt have a red line, and the red line is we don't want Palestinian refugees. We don't want you to fucking ethnically cleanse the land at this point.
It's been very complicated, but mostly the UN has condemned everyone, basically. Obviously, the attacks by hummus.
Obviously, the hummus attacks were inhumane. Obviously.
Yeah, and I've also seen a condemnation of Israeli sort of the indiscriminancy of Israeli strikes, the lack of proportionality, firstly, and
the collective punishment of a people because of an act of a terrorist group.
The absence of targeted sort of strikes in a very densely populated area.
Over peoples that have been more oppressed than most peoples for the past few decades, at least. It's a shit show. It's a shit show, Luigi.
It's a true, yeah.
Yeah. Shall we move on? Let's move on from this shit
Let's
show.
move on from the shit show. But before we do,
Yes.
of course, you have global powers trying to
Let's go through them. Yeah. How has China, Russia, how have they reacted? How has the South reacted, the global South, to what's happening with Israel? Should I go through Russia and China?
The Chinese foreign minister said that, well, what we're just describing, that the scope of the retaliation, the bombing campaign has gone beyond the scope of self-defense, that it should stop the collective punishment of the people of Gaza. I mean, it's not often or even occasionally that I agree with the Chinese foreign minister. This is a statement that I could get myself behind.
It happens that their interests align this time to what is the humanitarian approach regarding this. Doesn't mean anything about them. Yes.
I agree.
It's interest, yeah. Because America has aligned itself so strongly with Israel, they're going to defend Palestinians. They don't really give a shit about Palestinians.
Putin, of course, had to go over the top and basically compare what is doing in Gaza to the siege of Leningrad by the Germans in the Second World War.
Putin is going very extravagant these days.
Yeah.
As he marches gloriously through the pastures of Ukraine.
Of course, gloriously might be the incorrect word for what he's doing, but
but he's doing stuff. He's doing stuff.
What do they say? All publicity is good publicity.
Exactly. So we've got the Chinese. Let's see. This is slightly. Slightly. I'm interested in that the Chinese state media. Yeah, go on.
China has historically backed the Palestinian cause, as the USSR through the Cold War. But they've been trying to warm up relations with Israel lately. Yes. Russia is seeking support for its continuing war in Ukraine, while China is looking to build a broader coalition of developing countries to extend its sphere of influence as it wages the new Cold War with the US.
And in the state media, they've been critical of Israel and blamed the United States for funding tensions in the region. It's interesting. What has Putin done? The civilian casualties will be absolutely unacceptable. Now the main thing is to stop the bloodshed, but not in Ukraine, he said. And India is interesting.
India has made a global fight against terrorism a central principle of its foreign policy for decades, and has, like Russia and China, developed economics and other ties with Israel.
India is super triangulating. India is trying to play friends with everybody. Let's see how that works out. And we have harsh criticism from South Africa because it has a specific and troubled history with Israel, which grew close to the racist, repressive apartheid regime in the 1980s. The rest of Africa has again been very diplomatic about this. We've been through the tour, Luigi. We've done the the world reaction.
It's not going to be solved anytime soon, but neither is any of the great powers likely
geopolitics around the world.
Neither is anyone going to step, out of their way to sort of do much in this conflict. If anything, the only of the major powers that might lift a finger to influence things is the US, but in the favor of the Israelis, of course. So it looks green for the Palestinians.
It always looks green for the Palestinians, I'm not going to lie. But I don't know. I think Jack is better than having Trump at the helm. I know this is little comfort to Palestinians, but I still think it's better to have Jack there than fucking Donny Boy. Donny Boy would have been like, let's raise fucking Gaza to the ground.
Probably.
I mean, I don't know. It's Donny Boy. Who the fuck knows? But you know.
We're going to send our old missiles. We're going to it's basically recycling, folks. You throw the old shit. But away from Donald Trump and in more European matters, George.
We haven't discussed Donald, Luigi. It is a worry of mine that we've gone too many episodes.
It's true, right? So
he's been having a few bangers. I'm not gonna lie. And I think recently he went on a speech rally, whatever he's doing, and he was like, "And how's how's Nancy's husband doing these days? I was like, he got hammered, dude. He got hammered in the head. Yeah, he's got a lot of court cases. It's very, very busy, very busy.
A federal judge has barred Donald Trump from criticizing prosecutors, the court, and possible witnesses ahead of his trial on election.
I mean, that sounds
subversion charges.
Yeah, it sounds like a very courageous attempt to shut him up. But I don't know. It's brave. It's a good luck. Yeah, good luck.
But I also understand like what the judge is trying to say, that there's a
it's
huge intimidation.
It's another partisan knife stuck deep into the heart of the great one, your martyr, your God.
I mean, there's a certain level of like determination. I don't know. Like, when you look at this face,
divine wisdom, divine, and so wise, so divine. Even my great whatever. Yeah, he's a fucking idiot. Yeah, he doesn't understand. And the reason because he does understand it, let's be honest, he might have too much fucking tanning solution embedded in his fucking veins, but he still understands that you can just go around intimidating judges, but he knows. And the reason he does it, Luigi, I believe, is that he knows he has, I don't know how many, 78 million people behind him. And that's what's driving Don Fadas, Don Donny boy. The great one.
The great one is stress testing the American legal system at this point.
So he's stress testing pretty much everything he can get his grabby hands on, isn't he? He's a legend. Yeah, I like this. I've gotten my feel for Donny. We can move on to actual pertinent issues. Is there anything else you want to? Yeah.
There's some nice detail in this article that
I'm going to agree with you on this. Deeply disturbed by his inclination to attack others. He's got that. He's got that in the bag.
Yeah, so Mr. Trump faces a partial gag order in that case over his criticism of the New York's judge top clerk in a post that includes her name, photograph, and social media. Basically,
they can come after me, Luigi, but I cannot go after them. Is this justice? It's not justice.
I've got 85 million people behind me.
Let's indict the motherfuckers.
Yeah, we are not the same, George. Me and you are not the same.
Some pigs are more equal than other pigs. Some pigs are better.
I doubt he's ever read Animal Farm, but
he's read it. He thinks it's about a fucking real farm where anthropomorphic animals took over. Why did they kill the donkey? I loved the donkey. He was such a good donkey. I would have never killed the donkey.
Yeah, so the afterthoughts with Trump are that his trial is going to begin in March, around Super Tuesday.
Same day as Super Tuesday, man. But he's
when the Republicans vote,
he's gonna skip those primaries anyways, Luigi. That's in the bag. I'm gonna go to a court, get that shit done, got the primary in the bag. Who's gonna fucking defeat him, Luigi? Chris fucking Chicken Wing Christie, the son of God, Ron Florida man, DeSantis, or is it gonna be the Pastrami? None of them can take him on, Luigi. I think we established that in the last debate. None of them. Has the golden touch. So stable. They're weak. I'm
leading everybody by 50 points.
And I mean, to be honest, on the other side, Biden's doing exactly the same. Without the subverting election democracy bill,
he's a sitting president. It's the easiest thing in the world.
He refuses to do debates, Luigi. He refuses to face down the great RFK Jr.
and talk about vaccine efficiency.
Listen, the Ashkenazis and the Russians, they've got chimeras. Going. Russo-Chinese chimeras in the Ukrainian biolabs. I've
I
seen
would
the
love,
results.
I would love to see that debate. I would love to see that one.
Tell me, Joe. Tell me about the Ukrainian biolabs, for God's sake.
We're gonna be
I
needing
think
we're
I
gonna be
think
needing
I thought, yeah.
translators in that debate.
Oh yeah. I think he's going independent RFK. Anyway, let's skip RFK. Fuck RFK. He's a fucking credit of the highest order.
Yeah. So
Let's do
in
Poland. Let's finish up.
Poland,
Yes,
George. Yeah.
that's some good
So
news. Rare piece of good news. From Poland, if you can believe it.
so Donald Tusk, Donald, I used to be head of the European Council. Tusk
Was it Council, Luigi? Was it
was
President?
was
European Council President. Yeah. He was head of the European Council, correct.
yeah.
Nobody knows. No, nobody even in Europe understands what the fuck that is. But we know. He was the head of the European Council.
I think that the European Council is a collection of economics ministers.
No, the European Council is the heads of state of every EU nation. So you've got 20, you've got 27 heads of state which make up the European Council, which is part of the tripartite system of governance in the EU, which is the EU, the Parliament, the Council, and the Commission. I'm not even going to bother telling you what the fuck the Commission is. Ursula heads it. But Tusk is one of the major heads in European politics. He used to be. And now he's gone back to Poland to reclaim his motherland from the jaws of far-right troglodycy. And I'm not going to lie, I think he got less votes. He got less votes in the end, but because it's a parliamentary system, the way it works, he's got enough coalition partners to actually make it work, whereas the ruling Justice and Law and Justice Party can't do it again. Because they haven't got coalition partners. So it's very likely that in the coming few months, Donald Tusk will be the prime minister of Poland.
And I mean, is Donald Tusk our savior?
Not really, but he's going to be better than the far-right troglodytes that Poland's had for the last 8 years. He's going to have a few hurdles as well. The president is going to stay there until 2025, and the president, of course, is aligned with the current party. And what else? They have judicial hurdles as well, judges and stuff like that.
Here's the Guardian. The result has prompted celebration from progressive polls about the end of the current.
All 5 of them have celebrated in the center of war. No, I'm joking.
Which has eroded the rule of law, rolled back
The rule
abortion
of
rights.
The rule of rights. Yes.
Rolled back abortion rights and targeted minorities and non-European migrants with hateful propaganda.
I mean, they've completely stalled any fucking European solution on migration for the past, 70 years or something. I think we've just had one, but it's very patchwork as a solution. The one they've managed to come up with, but even then, I think Poland wasn't supporting it anyway. But after this, they're going to support it, and it's a good solution for anyone agitating about this. It's much better to share the burden collectively as Europe than to allow a few nations to get hit by endless migration waves.
Obviously, and everybody understands it. It's just that some people don't want to honor it, I guess.
They don't want to share the part in the social contract. It's a give and take, people. It's like sex.
It's not even a social contract. It's an actual European contract, a treaty, as it's called.
Many treaties, Luigi. Many beautiful, strongly worded treaties.
Strongly worded, zero teeth, little substance.
So Luigi,
classic Europe.
Middle East going to shit, and then we've got surprisingly good news in Europe. Surprisingly, for once. Yeah.
A rare victory.
Cherish them, for they are rare.
Yeah, and the Americans not like the House Speaker.
It's the Americans. It's Congress, and it's past 2 years for the president first term. So yeah, nothing's gonna happen anyway.
Yeah, the classic. Yeah,
God bless the US.
The deadlock. God bless the deadlock.
The checks and balances. So many checks, so many balances.
But nothing gets done.
Nothing gets done. But I mean, it's better than fucking getting done whatever Jim Jordan wants to get done. So I mean, we'll take it.
There's an argument that sometimes doing nothing might be there.
Yeah, it's better than doing whatever Jim Jordan wants to do. That's the argument.
It's better than making the stuff worse.
Yeah. Ban all abortions, all of them, all of them. All of them, ban them. Like, okay. Not gonna turn out good, this one, is it? Anyway.
But yeah.
Anyway, you wanna close with good words, bad words? Do you wanna close with Israel, or do you wanna close with shit? You got Israel in front of you. We've already done it, Luigi. Look at the hag of peace. The hag of peace. I've come, Jack. Where's your eyes? Yeah. Where am I? Where the fuck am I?
the background.
I saw you in the interview, Luigi. He was like, Hezbollah, nah. No, the guys up north. Hamas is down south. Hummus. He works with hummus. Jack works with look at him. He's a hummus agent.
Yeah,
I saw him eat the hummus.
Let's hope we have better news for everybody when we
Definitely.
Return.
I just want us to have it. I know things are so bad, and I'm making light of it. But I'm trying to, I'm trying to be able to process this without just crying about it or going into hysterics, because it's bad. It's extremely bad. The situation is going to get worse. If they do a ground invasion, shit, it's going to get 10 times worse. It's already extremely bad. They basically cut off the water supply, food supply, electricity supply, everything. They've condemned them back to the fucking Middle Ages.
And as we mentioned earlier, that strip of land is basically a kindergarten with half of the people under 18. So
it's inhumane. It's a crime against humanity, and it's inexcusable.
Yeah, a humanitarian crisis unfolding, and the EU, I'm sure, is deeply concerned. Leaders vow unified to mitigate the humanitarian crisis.
My dudes, we're gonna wait for the EU. We have vowed. The vow has been given, Luigi.
Charles Michel has vowed.
I mean, if Charles Michel vows this, it's done. Let's close with this hopeful note.
God bless.
Should we do the closer anyway, though? Should we say bye-bye? We should say bye-bye to everyone. You just, it would be rude to just cut off like this. Yeah. And we hope for better days ahead of us, people. Luigi, always beyond an honor, sir, I would say.
A pleasure.
The journey of a lifetime.
The pleasure is all mine.
Excellent. See you soon. See you guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.